Hello, it's time for a very short and quick video on Merlin and my first impressions. So, Merlin is a free stance switching god. Or in other words, he has three stances that you can switch into. He's a mage, he has limited mobility, no CC in his kit. Really? He has like soft CC across the board, which is mainly applied using his abilities. And he doesn't really have any like hard CC, it's just a lot of soft CC with soft mobility, which is on the teleport, which is on his free. He is very difficult to use. He's incredibly weak to CC. He's incredibly weak to, say, slows. He is hard to use, great to play, enormous amounts of fun, and requires a high amount of knowledge as well as game sense to make work. I love him. I really do. Whoever designed him, congrats, kudos. Like, you've done a fantastic job. In terms of like build and item that I've been going with, I found this to be pretty much his core. Because of how many dots he has, Spears of Magus is a good fit on him. Because of how many dots he has and how much control he can bring to the table, especially with his abilities where he can just like do this. Gem of Isolation is also very, very good. Any of these items are great as extras on top of this. And defensive items here just in case you get focused up. Personally, I find him to be like very, very weak during the laning phase. I rely on ice a lot just to provide safe play on poke. I have found that Merlin comes online pretty well at the mid game, and he is a late game god. He is not an early game mage at all, so you have to play him very, very carefully. I enjoy Merlin. There really isn't much to say. I like the stance switching mechanic they have, where you can switch stances on the fly, and you can actually pick which one you want to go into. I love this. I absolutely adore it. I love his entire design and aesthetic. I love everything about him. As a person who enjoys mages, he is a mage. He is a very good control mage, and I think he's going to get played at a pro level. I really do. I wish I could say more about Merlin, but I don't think I could without sounding like an idiot. So all I'm going to say is, I use ice during his laning phase. I found ice into arcane to be very, very good to the mid to the early stage of the game, where you can be somewhat safe, and then late game you can actually make use of fire. I think fire is probably the most risky and the one that gives him the highest amount of potential late game. I feel in terms of his like stances, they're all different, they're all unique, and they all have like different levels of control, different levels of utility, and they're all horrendously strong when combined together. I like the fact he doesn't really have an ultimate. I love that. His other weakness is the fact he lacks sustain, but that's fine because he makes up for it with just how much utility and how much control and how much power and burst he can bring to the table. I feel he is a teamfight god. If you can support Merlin, I think he's going to be fantastic. I don't think he's going to be very good in ranked, if I'm being honest with you. I think he's going to push people's skill when it comes to playing him in ranked, because he's difficult. This is probably the most difficult mage in the game. The only mage that I would say is more difficult than him, and the mage that requires, I'm going to say, similar levels of like skills per minute, is Hell. And even then, I don't think Hell comes close to what Merlin brings to the table, nor like how much is required of a player in terms of like which skills you have to use. In fact, just doing this right now, you are spamming a lot, and this is exactly how you play Merlin. You just spam, 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 and you're doing a lot of skills per minute. It's probably the highest in the game. In fact, I'm gonna say it is the highest in the game by without much trouble. Other gods that I think are just as hard or harder would probably be Morgan. I think those are the top three like gods easily. Merlin, Hell, and then Morgan, I think are probably the hardest gods in the game to play and play well. I might be underrating Morgan there, to be honest with you. It might go Merlin, Morgan, and then Hell. I love him. There's not really much to say. I found success when building these items together. I would recommend these items over, say, Book of Thoth or Bancroft. I don't think those items work well on him. They delay him too much, and they are incredibly risky, and they make him susceptible to ganks because his cooldowns are really, really long, and if he does not have cooldown reduction, he somewhat sucks because he's very reliant on just, like, his abilities. He's extremely reliant on them. In some ways he reminds me of a couple gods, and in other ways he just doesn't. So, there's my first impressions on Merlin. There's what I think about him. I've shown off some of his abilities. I will let you play him. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and do all that stuff. And yeah, so bye.